I am incredibly excited to share today's episode with you as we move through the month of March, the month to embrace equity and honor women everywhere. First, let me say how grateful I am that you are listening in, learning, and getting what you need from this podcast. I hope that you're ridding yourself of the unwanted stress, overwhelm, and that feeling of just going through the motions as you choose ease, as you simplify your life, and as you lead with love, courage, and mindfulness. Honestly, I often just marvel at the incredible guests whom I have had the honor of chatting with on The Juggle is Real. And while this is a relatively young show, this is only episode 43. We have shared conversations with leading experts, amazing entrepreneurs, educators, so many moms, and more. It is truly humbling and so inspiring to hear from each and every guest and to offer their wisdom to you. And honestly, I cannot wait for you to hear from some of the guests who are lined up in the next little while. Like, honestly, seriously, literally, what are the weird words that I can say? I am blown away and I am so pumped to have them on the show. So make sure you stay tuned for that. If you've been here for a minute, you may have caught on to the format and the themes that I like to explore with our guests. I often include ways to take action, and I ask guests for the advice that they want to give you, the busy listener, the one who has lots on the go and wants to make a shift, wants to create change, but do it from a place of ease and flow. And so I thought it would be great to put some of these little tidbits together in one convenient place. There were so many great sound bites. I actually had to divide the guests in half and create 2 episodes. So stay tuned for that. For this episode, I've compiled some of my favorite actionable advice from our guests who are in the motherhood and parenting space with expertise in varying areas, ranging from education to human development and family studies. Also, they are all moms. If I know one thing for sure, it's that these women are true champions and allies for all moms and parents. So I can't wait to share this with you. Make sure you stay tuned for all the best from past guests in the wellness space. For now, I will stop talking so we can hear from our motherhood and parenting experts. Let's get started. Welcome to the Juggle is Real podcast. I'm your host, Andryanna. A few years ago, burnout nearly cost me that happy, fulfilled life that I'd always dreamed of. Every day left me feeling overwhelmed with stress at work, at home, and just with life in general. I felt like I was constantly running and couldn't catch my breath. So I embarked on a journey of finding better balance, of learning how to prioritize my own needs, of shifting my mindset to live with more ease and balance, of learning how to do more without the pressure of doing it all. And I discovered that letting go of the need for a perfect life opened up opportunities to bring in more joy. So I am sharing my experience and my learnings with you so that you don't have to struggle. I want to show by example how liberating and empowering it can be to silence expectations, to learn how to live through the chaos of work and family with grace, joy, and ease. So what do you think? Are you with me? Let's get started. Oh, welcome, welcome, welcome. I am so glad you're here. As you know, this episode is dedicated to sharing helpful advice from our past guests who are in the motherhood and parenting space. So grab a piece of paper or get your mental notes ready as we dive right in. Our first piece of advice comes from episode 11, an authentic approach to self-care and parenting with connected parenting coach and practitioner, Natalie Syrmopoulos. Here's what she had to say. So this authentic self-care, what can we do today to start creating a self-care strategy? Putting a plan in place, something that works with the demands of life, both parenting and our careers and everything else. What can we do to incorporate this in a way that's really going to work with our life? What would you say to that?
For sure. This is another great question. And my job, when I work with parents, my job is to help make their lives easier. And I was literally just talking to a client about this. And it's a very personal self-care, an authentic self-care practice is a very personal journey. So I'm going to share some stuff that that the audience can do and for sure take on. And um, it's a very personal practice. Only you will truly know. And this is the astonishing thing that doesn't really surprise me anymore now that I've been doing this for a while, but a lot of people don't really know what brings them sincere joy. So when I list 5 authentic practices, it's not for you to just go and try those and like that's what Natalie said, just go try. You have to like sit with it for a little bit and see what really lights a bit of a calm, peaceful fire in you. So I want to share a couple of the self-care practices. But before I do that, there is something that I want to make sure that if you're listening to this, please, and if you notice now, based on our conversation, that similar to what you just said, you're using it more of a coping strategy, please just, it's okay. We all do it. We've all done it. Okay, so don't be hard on yourself. Forgive yourself for that. And now that you know better, you can do better. So what are some things that you can do? 1, meditate, whether it's guided or self-meditation, okay? 2, and I'm not saying, I'm not numbering these, and you have to do these in order at all. Like, these are just some suggestions, okay?
These are options, merely options,
yeah,
in no particular order.
No particular order. Whatever works for you, okay? The other thing you can do is journal, okay? Another thing you can do is just practice gratitude. As simple as that. Yes, yoga is another beautiful one. Getting outside, going for a walk, being in nature. And there's a lot of science behind this. Okay, we're not really diving into this, and I do dive into it in my course. But there is science behind this. And I'll give you a quick example, okay? And I want to leave I want to leave people with something they can do right now. So when I started my self-care journey, it was not first thing in the morning because I was not using really authentic self-care. I was staying up late. I was doing the Netflix thing, blah, blah, blah. And I would wake up when my kids wake up. So how I started it was I just took 5 minutes out of my day and I did the 5-minute journal. Now, is it better to do it in the morning? Absolutely. And I now know that, and I know the science behind it. But if you can only spare 5 minutes of the day and you're not really a morning person right now, just choose any time of the day and do the 5-minute journal. If that's not even available for you right now, what I would suggest is you list 3 things, either in your mind or in a notebook, that you're grateful for. And the best way to do this with consistency is to habit stack it. So you want to stack it on top of something that you're already doing every day. So what are some things that people do every day? Usually brush teeth, that's a good one, okay? Or wash face, or have a cup of coffee or tea. Those are things that a lot of people do almost every single day of their life. So what I'm asking you to do is just during those very habitual things, list 3 things that you're grateful for.
So good. I loved my chat with Natalie as we are so aligned on so many things, but I also learned so much from her. Next up is a clip from episode 20, The Secrets to Stress-Free Parenting, with parenting coach and teacher Tia Slightham. This chat was chock full of great info, but here's a clip on how to help your kids cooperate and listen more, act out less, and help you bond better with your children. It's dedicating 10 minutes twice a day to having one-on-one time with your child. It's what she calls golden time. Here's Tia's advice. Any examples that you can provide for, how we can go about doing this?
Yeah, so what we want to think about is setting it up for ease. And so I offer the idea around sitting down with your kids and letting them know how excited you are to have this new opportunity to spend time just with them. I was a kindergarten teacher. I can be kind of theatrical, but you've got to get excited, because when you're excited, they're excited. And you're going to let them know that you've been so busy with all of these things you have to do and that you want to spend more time with them. That's going to fill their bucket up just in that statement. And I want you to sit down and really go through creating golden time lists with your kids. So for younger kids, it might be pictures of like blocks and Legos and dolls, or drawing or crayons or whatever they like to do. And you're going to help them create like a little visual where you can point to things that they can choose they want to do. For older kids, they might want to write their own list and phonetically try and spell it out and put pictures next to it. Having the lists is going to allow you during your busy schedule to say, okay, we're going to do golden time now. We've got our 10 minutes. Let's pick something quickly. It's going to help you save that time. And it's also going to give your kids a real sense of power, because it's their list, it's their choice, they get to choose, and then you're going to run with it. Another simple tip to help would be to use a timer. I use the time tracker mini timer. I know your listeners can't see it, but I will share a link if they are interested, because our kids are not going to want to stop golden time. 10 minutes is not going to be enough in their books, and that's okay. We're teaching our boundaries to be really concrete, clear, and consistent, and a timer can help you do that. And I really recommend setting the timer in the beginning for that 10 minutes or the 15 minutes or whatever you have to offer, so that they're aware when it's time to transition out of it, so they don't get into a power struggle with you. And you can let them know that you're really sorry that it's over. It was so much fun, and you can't wait to do it either that evening or the next time when it's available for you on your schedule.
Honestly, I have learned so much from Tia. Her Instagram has tons of great nuggets as well, so make sure to check her out. The next invaluable advice comes from episode 23, How to Do the Inner Work and Reparent Yourself. This discussion with guest expert Dr. Laura Froyen is such an important one. She shared the ways that we can look inwards and reparent our inner child with love, compassion, and forgiveness. Here's the clip. How do we start this process of doing the inner work?
Yeah, so pick one time during your day, just one time where you would normally pick up your phone and scroll or check your email, and instead just check in inside yourself. Check in and see if there's a body part that is a little stiff or holding tension. Check in and see if there's some feelings that you haven't acknowledged that you've been blowing past. Just one time. It doesn't have to be long. It can be waiting at one checkout line or waiting at one red light in your car, but just do that one time. Another easy thing to do is when you're going to sleep, that last few little minutes, just doing a quick little body scan or through your body, seeing if anybody has anything to say, if there's any thoughts or worries or fears that have come up through your day or things that you need to process. Notice if you go to berating yourself or using, language that, shame, blame, judgment that was maybe used on you as a kid, and trying the language that you use on your own children or that you would use with a friend. Those are the two kind of easiest places to start. We all go to sleep, we all have moments of pause in our day that are forced upon us, like waiting in line or waiting at a red light. And so those are the times to start kind of hacking your life and using them for your benefit.
I could listen to Dr. Laura all day. And you can too, actually. She has a really helpful podcast called The Balanced Parent. I was grateful to be a guest on it, but you can find so many valuable resources there. As we continue along our best series with motherhood and parenting advice, this clip comes from episode 29, 5-Minute Mindfulness with author Shonda Morales. Here it is. Making it manageable. I love that you're bringing this realistic approach to it. So for those busy working parents, they're listening, they want to take action. Maybe they think, well, I'm not a morning person. There's no chance I can wake up early.
Yes.
There's no way, or, my kids wake up at the crack of dawn. I don't know that that's doable for me. Or,
Yep.
I love that you're saying to kind of mix it into the day, add it to things that you're already doing. if you had like the easiest starting off place for maybe the most overwhelmed or stressed person who just doesn't even know where to start because they can't even, make the decision to what to make for dinner that night, like where would you say begin here, start here, take that 1 minute pause?
Yep.
What would you say to that person?
I have two options. The first one I think of is that coffee mindful break that everyone loves, which coffee, tea, your lemon water, whatever you're having in the morning. And I know you are, we're all having our beverage in the morning. Instead
I
of
die for
not,
coffee. Yeah.
yes, yes. Instead of, chugging it and not even recognizing that you've had it, take 20 seconds. I mean, 20 seconds, you can do this, but you have to stop and feel the warmth of the mug, feel the texture, bring it to your nose, smell the aroma. Take that first sip and hold it in your mouth and feel the warmth and taste it. And then notice as you're swallowing the warmth moving down your throat and into your stomach. 20 seconds. And that is going to be a very different way of drinking your beverage in the morning than you tend to drink it. And then if you want to stretch it out to 5 or 10 minutes, if you're able to, wonderful. That is one option. Another option is literally in the midst of your day. And some people will say, oh, I'm not a touchy-feely person, but there's something about releasing oxytocin when we touch our heart space. So you don't have to do this if you're in the grocery line or anything like that. But, putting your hands to your heart and taking 3 deep inhales and exhales, that is it. I promise you are going to be like, whoa. I mean, I said that before. It is radical, and it's radical in our busy lives that we stop and take those full deep breaths. So that is a great place to start. And then if you can do that a couple of times in the day, even better. You can do it with your kids. You can teach it to your kids. But definitely you asked before about benefits. There was a research study that was done with parents, and the parents themselves were taught mindfulness practices, not the kids. But what they found is after a year of mindfulness practice, the kids were more social, less reactive. They had better behavior, and they were more communicative than with their parents having practiced mindfulness. The kids had not learned any mindfulness directly at all. And so it filters down. I mean, our kids are little emotional sponges that pick up our moods, they pick up all of this. And so we are bringing our best selves when we practice this, and we need to give ourselves permission, almost like we're going to take a vitamin or something. We want to take care of ourselves. And this is the best way we know how to bring our best selves to our families and our colleagues. And I always say the world, it sounds so, large and big, but it's true. We women, we're so smart. And I think being parents, really makes us more efficient. I mean, we have to think on our feet. We have so many skills that we develop by being parents, and the world needs those gifts too, in whatever form that is. And so when we're overstretched and stressed and burned out, we have nothing left to give.
I love how Shonda can break down the big topic of mindfulness in actionable but bite-sized pieces that we can all find the time to do. Her books are so helpful if you're looking for more in this space. Moving along to more great advice, here's a clip from episode number 30, The Truth About Having It All, with chartered professional accountant, boutique search firm partner, and leadership coach, Catherine Marr. We want to make these changes. We want to come closer to what it means to have it all with ease and fun and space in our day. How can we start taking action? If we're not sure where to start, is it going back to these questions, or what would you say to our listeners?
I think, in the words of Hannah, our coach, I would say they can't get it wrong. So any action is a positive. These questions are a great place to start. To have one takeaway, I would suggest to read or listen to on Audible or any kind of app that plays books, would be to read Benjamin Hardy's book, The Gain Over the Gap. And you just touched on that, literally, as the title says, it's focusing on the gain over the gap. And the philosophy is to measure your wins. So this is looking at what's working, what's easy. One of the suggestions in the book is to write down 3 wins before bed every night. And so this is similar to gratitude journal and picking your daily 5. This will reframe your mind to look at the wins, to look at what's working. It's very powerful. It's an easy place to start. it's a great tool in leadership. In any company, it's a great tool in parenting. It can shift your entire relationship with your kids when you focus on what they're doing right and the successes. I think we all have I can't speak for everyone, but personally I have a tendency to focus on pointing out what needs work, weaknesses, try to give suggestions on what can be done better. And I mean, that would
Fix the situation.
Fix the situation.
Yes.
We can do that in our marriages and parenting and in any kind of team situation, but to just come back to remembering what you focus on expands.
Catherine's advice is so tangible and authentic. I love that you can pick up the book, The Gap in the Gain, which is absolutely incredible. I can't recommend that book enough. As we move on to our last few clips, here's some advice from episode number 32, Career Shifts and Default Parenting, plus having tough conversations with Renee Rena. With a top parenting podcast herself called The Mom Room and a huge social media following, Renee is known for saying it how it is and not being afraid to have an opinion. Here's a takeaway from Renee.
We all have different ideas, and sometimes, like, just the word can be a little bit triggering for people when we're talking about work-life balance. But what does it mean to you personally to be living life with better balance?
I am not the best at this. I struggle with, and I never used to do it and never struggled with this until I became a mom. And I think it's because your responsibilities and like your time is just so much more like precious. It's not infinite anymore. I'm trying to get physical activity back in my life. Like, I've been physically active and an athlete my whole life. And just in the last few years, for some reason, I cannot be consistent with it, but I know it's something that's important to me. Reading, like taking time to turn off my brain, because I am like, go, 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 go all day from the moment my alarm goes off. So lately, for the last like year or so, I read a novel. I never used to read novels. I was always like a nonfiction person, which was basically like studying. Like, I would read these like, like books that were like, self-help things. So switched to novels because now I can actually turn off my brain before bed and just like clear my mind, not think about anything. I'm also trying to be intentional with my relationship with my husband. Like, that changes so much after you have kids, at least it did for us. And like starting to feel like we're just roommates and we're not even like romantic partners. We're just kind of like a team, like a really good team, like never fight. Like we, crush every day. We get everything done. Like, we're both super helpful and we get along great. We laugh all the time, but it was like, where's the romantic relationship? So trying to be more intentional with that, even just like in the morning, if my husband's pouring coffee, like going to give him a hug before I pour my own coffee, it's like these little things that just kind of set up your day and like change your mood. My advice for other people who might struggle with balance is like figuring out what is a priority for you, because oftentimes, especially after the pandemic, I think we fell into like these routines that were not necessarily healthy, like physically and mentally, just like social media and like whatever people were doing. Like, my husband and I would just sit on the couch next to each other and, a sports game would be on and I'm like on my phone and we're not even really like connecting, even though that was like our only time during the day to be together. So yeah, it's like sitting down and like thinking about how your days go. What's important to you? Is there something that you can change to like put in something else that would mean more to you and be more beneficial? Like, maybe it's going for a walk. Maybe it's like putting your phone down and just being with your partner, giving your partner a hug. Like, what's important and how do you want your days to go? And it's something that I still work on. Like, I put my Peloton in my bedroom because I'm like, oh, if I see it every day, I'm going to do it. And like, I don't do it.
Just have your laundry draped over, socks on the end.
So
yes. I mean, you know what? It's true. Like, we all have great, intentions, but I think the small things, and like you said, like just like literally like picking up a book at the end of the day instead of like, going on your phone again, or like whatever it is. Like these things, they seem small, they seem insignificant, but added up over time, like these habits that we're creating, even just like, chatting with your husband for 5 minutes before he leaves, like just saying good morning, like getting out of our heads and actually engaging. I think it can be so meaningful, and obviously like it just helps so much over time. So I love that. I love it so much.
I love that she doesn't sugarcoat things or make it seem like she's got it all figured out, because you know what? We are all just figuring it out ourselves. But the advice she gave is great. Figure out what's most important to you and make it a priority. Now, the second last clip comes from episode number 37, one of our most listened to podcasts so far. It's upgrading your self-talk to empower yourself and create new results. In this episode, I chat with fellow mom of 3 boys, executive coach, NLP, and hypnotherapist, Kelly Maisi.
Sometimes we fear actually doing this work, but it's not difficult, right?
Oh,
It's
no.
just making a slight shift, a small change that really snowballs into better things.
Absolutely. Like one of the things that you can do is so simple, and I do it at the end of the day when I'm like putting my head on my pillow, is like take a moment to celebrate all the things that went well in the day. So come up with a list of 5 things that I felt really good about in the day. So I'm then like finishing my day off on a really positive note, and I wake up feeling good because I've taken the highlights from the day that were good, and that's what I go to bed thinking about. And that's when our subconscious mind is really doing a lot of the work, is when you're resting. So another thing you can also do is make gratitude a part of your day. So you've got young kids at home, like we love to do, sit at the table and go around the table and say like one thing that you're grateful for at the table. And that's a really nice way to get a conversation going amongst the family, but it's also a really great way to elevate the mood within the family. So those things, like as you consistently do those things, when you're celebrating your wins, when you are taking a moment for gratitude throughout the day, you're basically elevating your energy and how you're feeling. So you're doing some of that work already. And then that negative thinking is going to stop showing up as consistently as it may have in the past, because you are just at a better level. Because at the end of the day, you are what you think about. And so you want to pay attention to what your thinking is, because your thinking is coloring every experience that you have.
I could listen to Kelly all day. Not only does she have that calm and soothing voice that we all need, but her advice is so life-changing, and I speak from experience. Now, we finish this episode with advice on finding what will help you gain better balance and follow your gut to guide you to the right destination. It's from episode 42, The Many Hats of Entrepreneurship and Motherhood with Gabrielle Roy. Here's the clip. You give so much to your career and your business. You give so much to your family. How do you take care of your own needs? How do you balance those priorities within your family and your business life to carve out a little space for Gabe? I would love to know.
Oh, well, I always watch your stories and it's so inspiring because I love all the things you do to like, one day I want to be like you. I'm like, oh, I would love to incorporate those things into my life. It just looks so amazing. So one day I need to learn those things from you. But a funny thing that I've started to do, which is probably hilarious to many people, is I started to play tennis. And it's a funny thing. I used to be a racket. I used to play badminton like forever ago. And my daughter started playing tennis. I was like, oh man, this looks fun. I would like to start to play. And so anyways, make a long story short, I started playing about 9 months ago. And it's the first time in 8 years that I take out an hour a day. I play 5 days a week. I take an hour a day to go play because I'm not great at it, but my mental health is so much better for it. I'm happy. Oh my gosh. I can't even tell you, like, I know, whatever you're doing, like as an entrepreneur, whether it's meditating, yoga, it's going to the gym, whether it's taking a nap, whatever it is, I think it's just so important to carve out that time during the day and I make it happen. I'm like, I'm playing for an hour. I feel so much better. I'm happy. I can get on with the rest of my day. And I've just really truly realized how important it is to my health. You know what I mean? My mental health, my physical health. all that kind of stuff. So I feel a lot better for it.
I would love to hear from you just in terms of taking action. Like you've mentioned how you sort of overcame some of those fears. You saw within yourself that you needed to make a change in your life, even in, it maybe wasn't the quote unquote perfect time for you. And I don't know that there ever is a perfect time. You had young children, you had a safe career, your husband was busy. There was a lot on the go. So for the listeners who might want to start a business or might want to leave the role that they're in to start something new, or, a side hustle or something, maybe they're scared, they're not sure where to start. Do you have any advice that you can offer?
Yes. I always lead with my gut. I mean, that's something I've done my whole life in um, every single little journey that I've been on to get to here. And you always have to follow with your heart, be authentic to yourself, and truly lead with your gut, because I just truly feel like those things will not steer you wrong. And listen, I've listened to my gut and been on some weird paths. I'm like, why am I here? I start like, how did I get here? But all those things, like all those little things that got me to here were stepping stones. You know what I mean? Like all of those things, I learned I learned new things. I met different people. I
Yes.
gained new skills, whatever it was. I'm telling you, the number of jobs I have done, but they were all so important. And I tell all my staff that, even the girls that work for me, I mean, the girls up at the store, most of them are university girls. They're not going to be with me forever. So I try to inspire them sometimes. And I'm like, I know right now this is just a retail job for you guys, but look at it this way. Like you're learning how to communicate with people. Just because it's just a retail job, you're going to take away skills from this job that are going to help you in another position in your life. So every time you get something new, don't look at it as, oh, it's just a job. You're there for a reason. For some reason, the universe kind of guided you in that direction, and learn from it.
Well, what more can I say? I hope the advice shared from these 8 incredible women have landed with you, inspired you, and helped you as you navigate your own journey. It has been a pleasure sharing this with you, and I cannot wait to see you with the next Best Of episode that comes from another set of 8 amazing guest experts in varying wellness spaces. You won't want to miss it. Until then, please rate this episode, write me a review, and share this awesome advice with a friend. I truly appreciate you. Take good care.